how are we? So guys, I wanted to talk to you guys about self-esteem and self-worth. So I was trying to think of new topics and new subjects, and I've just come up with a few in the last few days, and I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. So self-esteem is something that I struggle with a lot when I was younger, up until probably after my marriage breakdown. I just dived into everything that I thought about myself and everything that I thought about the world and society, and why I felt that way and why I was so unhappy with my really fit body when I was younger. You know, I had an eating disorder, so I was I was bulimic, and I had this kind of understanding that I was fat all the time. I would always look at myself and think, oh gosh, I'm so overweight. I don't like who I am. You know, I continually thought the boys wouldn't like me and they wouldn't love me and all of that type of stuff. Anyway, so that got, not great, and I had to really do something about that. And it's, as you get older, I don't know whether it's that way for everyone or not, but as you get older, something changes when you start to understand the world and who you are, and what is great about you. And for me, the older part doesn't necessarily matter. It's more about learning about what's great about you and fixing all your trauma, and not the word fixing is probably not accurate, working through it. We can't fix the past, we can only just address it, look at it, and a lot of that was an issue for me. But I did have a good role model in the sense that my mum, she always taught us not to be ashamed of our bodies. She was always like a real free spirit. She'd just walk around and be like, body's natural, it's fine. And I always thought, oh, well, it's a great way to be. That's a nice natural thing that I have learned, and I do it with my daughter too. Don't be ashamed of your body, it's fantastic. And it's what we show as well that's super important. Like, if we're showing our little ones, if we're showing our friends, if we're showing our family, if we're showing them that we love our bodies, that we care about ourselves and those types of things, then they're going to believe it, right? But if we say, oh, you should really care about yourselves and you should care about your body and all of that kind of stuff, and you're not showing it, then nobody's going to really take that on board, because we want to be a role model to other people, to our children, to our friends, to our family, to our loved ones. When it comes to exercise and eating healthy, I'm not being a role model there. That's something that I am looking at, actually, working towards, which I've been continually talking about. So I have been eating a bit healthier in the last, month or two. Had a few slip-ups, but we'll get there. I'm going to head back to the gym once I pay it. It's a little bit overdue. So, anyway, so what I wanted to talk about was, obviously, men and women, we both live in a world, we live in a society that tells us that we should be sad because we don't look like that model, or, partners will tell us, well, you're not thin enough, or you're too thin, or your breasts aren't big enough, or I don't like your nose. From a young age, women and men are both taught that how we look on the outside is very important, because if we're more attractive, then we'll have more options in life, more career options, more people will like us, people want to be around us, and all of that kind of stuff. And it's interesting, actually, when you look at the statistics, they do talk about people who are less attractive, usually, people want to hang around them a bit more because they make them feel a little less unattractive. Because we feel a lot more normal when we're hanging around people. Like, if you go out, and have you ever had that friend, you go out and wherever you go, people always approach them and not you. And you just feel kind of ugly, even though you're fine. You just think, oh, I've got a bunch of friends like that. They're all gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous girls. But I did notice something. Once I changed my attitude and I actually liked myself, I was getting approached just as much as they were. But I used to think it was my exterior. I used to think, oh, it's because I'm not pretty. My friends are gorgeous and I'm not pretty. And it's not. It's not that at all. I mean, number one, it's because I'm a bit weird, right? So they'd walk up and I'd start talking about some weird conversation, some in-depth conversation, or something about politics or, you know, taboo subjects with strangers. And you know, that's the thing. Like, I didn't want to adhere to society's rules on small talk. But you know, if you're in a public place, well, you know, you're talking to random strangers. What do you want to talk to them about? Politics and religion and their deepest, darkest fears. It's probably not a good place. So I would try and do things to pretty much just get people to walk away, just weird them out. I don't know why. I just had an issue with being close with people and didn't think very much of myself, so I'd sabotage things. And that's what I did. And then I'd blame myself and say, oh God, it's because I'm ugly, you know? Anyway, so I went into that by doing a bunch of different exercises. I did therapy. I, you know, worked through all of these core beliefs that I had about myself, that I was worthless and that I was undeserving of love and attention, and that, you know, I wasn't good for a long-term relationship, and that I was, you know, ugly on the outside and things like that. So obviously when I say was, I don't think that anymore, right? I'm probably nearly the biggest that I have been ever. When I was pregnant, I was, and for about a year or two after that, I was bigger than I am now. But I love myself now. And there's a lot of people. I had a neighbor of mine, and she is probably still gorgeous. And she came up one day and she said, "How are you so happy with how you look? And I'm not," you know, which people could take as an offensive statement. But I didn't, because I thought, she's unhappy with where she's at and she wants to know why. What's my secret? How did I get it? What's the formula? Well, effort, work is one of them. So another one was, okay, you know, you wake up in the morning, right? You look in the mirror and what do you tell yourself? Physically, you know, you say it, or it's in your head. And what I used to say every day in my head was, you are ugly. You are worthless. You don't look like those girls in the on the TV and on the billboards, and every single place you look in your whole life, you will see someone who is better at something than you. They are a better runner. They are have a prettier face. They are more intelligent. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. There is somebody better out there than you. If you're number one in tennis, there's going to be somebody who's better, who's going to beat you. And so when we look at external stuff and we say, okay, well, this tennis thing, or my face, or my personality, or my whatever. No, personality is internal, blah. My external stuff, my job, makes me fantastic and I'm the best at it, and that's what people should like about me. Well, then we're basing stuff off something that there's going to be hundreds of thousands potentially of people better than you at that. Maybe not the, you know, if you're like a professional tennis player and you're number 1 or 2 or something, there's maybe one person better. Maybe. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is we have to start understanding what makes us us. What makes us unique and individual and wonderful. And one thing I did was I worked through a list with my therapist and with my daughter because I could not think of enough things that were great about me to fill up a piece of cardboard. So on the cardboard, I put it on my wall. It's got a little coat hanger attached to it. I'll just show you guys. So on the cardboard is affectionate, thoughtful, a valued community member, authentic, compassionate, intelligent, confident, creative, team player, determined, inspiring, changing, a survivor, beautiful, kind, valuable, able, funny, empathetic, supportive, willing, important, open, understanding, instinctive, a writer, awesome, alive, a fighter, lucky. So, and then I've got a mum, friend, sister, daughter, aunt, cousin, grandchild, the student, wise. So these are all just a bunch of words that obviously mean something similar or different to each person. And for me, I look at that when I'm having bad days. Sometimes I look at it when I'm having good days and I go, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I did that. And I'm so glad I have it so I can look at it and go, these are my values. These are some things that are, well, there's some values on there. There's also things that are great about me. There's also things that I offer to other people, you know. And sometimes we forget, like people say, but you're beautiful, right? And you can't take that on board. Somebody's telling you you're beautiful and you're like, yeah, thank you. Or you say, no, I'm really not. Or you say, oh, but what about my nose? You know, it's huge, it's hideous. People with much better noses than me. What about my thighs? What about, you know, dudes? What about my pecs, my guns and all of that stuff, right? And yes, there are probably things on our bodies that we do not like. I can give you a bundle of things on my body that I don't like, but that doesn't mean that I don't like my body and I don't like me. Sometimes my body gives me the shits because I have a crack in my knee continuously. Recently had some issues with my ovaries. Had to get some things burnt off my hands for you know, skin cancer stuff. So, you know, there's a bunch of stuff that happens in our lives and our bodies, you know, aren't always fantastic. But something that we have to remember is that this is the only one we have, right? This is the only one we have. We have to start appreciating it and loving it. And I mean, look at the difference of when I started liking myself and being confident and all of that type of thing with the people that I got approached by in the pub, and you know, just all of the feedback and stuff I get from my friends and family and my work and all the things that I've done in my life. And once I started caring about myself, everything changed, like everything. When I used to say to random dudes I was trying to date, yes, I will do whatever, you know, I'll meet you whenever. I want to make you happy. I want, you know, for you to like me and see what's great about me. You got to show people what's great about you. It doesn't matter whether you're going to date them or not, you know, you've got to show people what's great about you. And that involves saying no. It involves putting your boundaries in place and getting your needs met and caring about yourself. And so a lot of the time I started saying things like, no, you're going to meet me out in a public place at a cafe, you know, because that's what I think I deserve. That is what I think I deserve. Somebody who actually wants to talk to me and respect me and treat me like a lady. Some people don't want that, and that's okay too. If you think that that's what you deserve and you love that and that's great, well, go, girl, boy, whichever. I don't care, you know, do it. But I just think we've really got to try and find out what it is about us that's great. And how do you do that, right? Somebody says, you're beautiful. You say no. What happens? There's like, it's not coming in. How do you get it to come in? And this is something that took me quite a while to do. I started out by telling myself things I believed, right? So look in the mirror and you say to yourself, I am okay. Now, if you think that you're better than okay, do it. I am amazing. I have a great personality, you know, and then I would pick one thing about myself. So sometimes it was my eyes because I like them because they're blue. So I'd say my eyes are blue. Sometimes it was my smile, you know, my nose, my cheekbones, my hair. Often it wasn't anything else. So find something that you do like about yourself. And that's something about rewiring your brain, is about redirecting your thought process. So your thought process right now is saying, it's going off your core beliefs. So your core beliefs could be, I am not deserving, I am unworthy, I am useless, you know, I am a failure, whichever, right? So they're I statements, and they're based off our own histories and childhoods and bad things that have happened to us, and things like that. So it's really good to figure those out and then try and understand how they're impacting your view of yourself, because, you know, even models are retouched, you know, especially models, people who are beautiful. Oh my God, I have never heard so many people complain about themselves, these perfect looking people. And I just think, how can you not like you? This is crazy. And I'll tell you what, every single person out there that you look at and you think is beautiful will tell you why they're not. You know, like there's this society who tells the people that there's something wrong with them, because the more miserable you are, the more you will buy. The more miserable you are, the more you think that you need that shirt, you need those pants, you need that makeup to cover up your imperfections, you need that surgery, you need it, right? Because you don't feel whole as you are. And you know what, if you want to do those things, do it. Yeah, cool, whatever, as long as it makes you happy. If it's going to help, do it. Cool. But if there's another avenue, you know, for me, I'm thinking I got to work out, because I'm not as nice to myself at the moment. I'm not liking myself as much at the moment. I still like myself, but I don't like my stomach, and it's making me a bit sad. So I got to do something about that. And my foot is really sore because I've got a spur in it, and it's like a little cat claw, and it just kind of attacks my ligaments in my foot. So it's starting to come back. I got an injection for it, cortisone injection. And so the pain is starting to come back. So I'm like, I've got to try and lose some weight because the health effects, you know. But do I love myself? Yeah. And do I look pretty nice in a rockabilly dress, you know, a nice lady dress? Yes, I do. And that's another thing, right? If you don't like the way you look, try and find clothing that matches your body shape. I mean, there are people walking around and they got these little midriffs on, and then they got their stomach just kind of hanging, just like big stomachs just hanging out. And I think, okay, you know what? If you want to wear that, that is okay. But something we got to remember too is, right, so we want to do what we want to do, but there are consequences for doing anything that we do. And those consequences are, people are probably going to judge you. And that's, I mean, I have a missing front tooth. And for the first 3 months after getting it out, because I had an abscess in my cheekbone and stuff, so it was all infected. It was going to cost thousands of dollars to get all worked out. I didn't have that, so got it pulled out. Had no tooth for about 3 months. And the amount of judgment I got from people was a lot, right? A lot. A doctor wouldn't even prescribe me some painkillers the night I got it out because she thought I was an addict. So that was a bit upsetting. But anyway, so I had to understand that, look, there are stereotypes everywhere in life, and whether or not, you know, we can handle that is up to us. Like, if you can handle that somebody's looking at you and saying, oh, she's got no tooth, then fine, wear your tooth out, you know, go out and don't have your tooth in. But I don't. And the reason I don't is because I know that there are consequences for every action. So if we go out and we're dressed with our bloody pants hanging down and our underpants and our cracks hanging out the back, well, people are probably going to look and they're probably going to judge you. And I don't know, like, if you want that, then do that. If you don't want that, then, you know, dress appropriately. Like, dress appropriately for your style, for your size, for your uniqueness, and do something that makes you walk out of the house and feel like, I don't care if anybody looks at me today because I am banging. Like, I look fantastic. And if you feel that way, then that's all that matters. Because if somebody looks at me, right, and and as I am right now, and they think, ugh, she's a piece of crap, or she's a whatever, I'm not going to care. Because I'm not, there's nothing I'm sensitive about that they can get. I'm like, okay, cool. I suppose you're perfect then. Like, I don't care. But if my tooth was out, I would care. Because I'm leaving it open, right? I'm leaving my vulnerability open for consequences, for judgment. And that's what I think. Look, if you're sensitive about your stomach, if you have a stomach, and it, you know, and you're wearing low rider pants and your stomach's just hanging out, if you're sensitive about it, don't put it out there, because it's going to affect you when someone says something or points at you or whatever. You're going to think people are looking at you. And why would you want that? Why would you want to open yourself up to somebody, you know, judging you? And this is the society that we live in. It's so unfortunate. And I hate it. And that is why there are so many people that are everywhere that are sad about themselves and comparing themselves to other people. And we've just got to kind of understand that we've all got great things about us. We've all got, you know, able minds or able bodies or personalities, and if we don't have able bodies, we've got, you know, amazing things to offer. Everybody does. They're all different, you know, and that's something that I just feel we've got to break it down and start saying, well, how am I dressing? How am I putting myself out there? You know, what can I do to improve my health? How can I be more confident and assertive? How can I look at all of these things that have happened to me in my life and try and figure out how that's affecting me right now? Why do I think bad things about myself? Can I go into the mirror and say I'm beautiful? If I can't, what's another alternative? You know, handsome for a man. Can I say you're an okay person? Can I say, do you know, like, what can we do to reduce the damage we're doing to ourselves? Because at the end of the day, I tell my daughter all the time, dress appropriately for your style, for your size. It reduces bullying, you know, makes her feel great, makes me feel great. You know, she's not walking around with her crack hanging out the back of her pants, you know. I mean, like, it's about presentation. Who do you want to be seen as? It's our identity. And I try to teach my daughter, you need to be proud of who you are. You need to be happy with the skin that you're in. You need to understand that you've got a beautiful face and a wonderful personality, and your eyes light up when you laugh, and you're a fantastic hugger, and all of these things, right? And if we can remind ourselves, like we would our kids or our loved ones, give ourselves the advice that our friends would give us, you know, be a friend to ourselves, then, I mean, our self-esteem is going to get better. And I have days where I am so mean to myself. I have days, but I no longer live that way all the time, you know, and that's the thing. We're still going to have struggles. We're still going to have days. We're still going to have a battle with our internal and external. Maybe some of us don't, and I tell you what, if they can tell me the secret, that is golden. But majority of us live in a society that tells us there's something wrong with us. So we start to believe it, and we've got to start to challenge that and start to realize that there's also something right with us, you know? There's something wrong with us. No, there's something right with us. Let's do that. And let's start understanding that, you know, there are some amazing things about every single person who is watching and not watching this video. And if we can try and pass that along to the people who obviously don't watch my channel, because there's many of them, then that would be fantastic. You know, we've got to do our bit for our circle and our community to try and improve the view on society. I know there are a lot of people putting out positive body stuff, and I'm not just talking about women, because a lot of people just do stuff for women, but there are men out there who are feeling like they're not manly enough, who are feeling judged, who are feeling, you know, and this is something that we've got to understand too. Just because we're going to compliment a lady when we see her in the street and we say, hey, you look amazing, that dress is stunning. Can we do that to men too? Like, can men do that to men? That would be fantastic. If I saw a man walk up to another man and say, mate, you are rocking it in that singlet. Like, I don't know. I would love to see that. Let's start a movement. All right, guys, I have wasted a lot of your time, 25 minutes. I did not expect it to be a long video, but I just got chatting and, you know, shared a few things of my own about my own past struggles with you know, diet and sickness and weight and bulimia and tooth and judgment, and you know, there's just been so many things we've covered today. So if you have any questions, a moth just flew past the camera. If you have any questions, please let me know. I think that every person's journey is individual and their core beliefs are going to be unique, and breaking them down and understanding why you think that you're not worth something is fantastic, because I am here to tell you that you are. You are. And there is somebody, like I said, who is looking at you right now and thinking, I wish I had that banging body or that amazing imagination or that creativity, your mind, your personality, your nose, your face, your whatever. Somebody else wants to be you. We got to start appreciating that we are us, right? And stop wanting to be other people, okay? Just stop comparing, you know? This, yeah. Okay, great. Love you all. Love yourselves. Bye.